What's up, folks? Welcome to the Shots Fired podcast with DP. I'm your host, Despot, birth name Jay Simino, and today is 14 May 2026. I should be packing for my East Coast trip, but this story caught my attention last night, and then all the white power faggotry pulled me right in. So, it looks like Chud the Builder finally fafoed. It appears that he did his chimp out thing. Some dude took a swing at him, so he decided, like a true faggot, to shoot the dude. Oh, and he also shot himself in the process. So, right off the bat, I'd like to point out that pulling a gun during a fist fight is literally chimp out behavior, dude. How often do we see videos mocking those of a certain race who can't fight one-on-one and in a fist fight go straight to the biscuit? How ironic, dude. What a bitch move. But then I got hit by a few accounts when I simply try to explain the law. God forbid a cop try to tell you something, right? All these douchebags coming at me. Emery Kingworth, it's a castle doctrine state. Do you mean stand your ground? Because this wasn't in his house or in a private business owned by him. It was outside on a sidewalk. But beyond that, even in a stand your ground state, you are not allowed to initiate the scenario for the sole purpose of provoking a reasonable person into a violent confrontation. Essentially, you can't start shit for the sole purpose of later claiming self-defense. The First Amendment and free speech is your protection from your government, people. It's not a protection from the general public. If it was, we wouldn't have disorderly conduct laws. We wouldn't have disturbing the peace laws, right? Explain that. As in, check out number 3 here. Now, this is taken from my former state. Directs at another person in a public place offensive words which are likely to provoke a violent action on the part of an average person so addressed. Again, this was taken from my former state statute where I was a police officer, and I applied this exact statute a gazillion times as basis for arrest. I understand that Tennessee has possibly a different statute, but it won't be too far off. This isn't a scenario where this guy just stands on a street corner shouting the N-word at the top of his lungs while not specifically targeting one or more individuals. That's completely different. No, what this guy does is he walks up to people minding their own fucking business and he addresses them directly. That's not gonna fly, bro. Even within Tennessee's own stand your ground law, there's an exception right here. Stand your ground does not apply if the person was engaged in an unlawful activity, provoked the confrontation, or if used against law enforcement. So what will be important going forward here is, was he being chud? If he was in fact in the middle of making one of his chimp out videos and the other guy took exception, he's not covered under stand your ground. Assuming the guy he shot was not a public official, the First Amendment does not protect him from verbally accosting the guy. Also, force has to be met with force. Chud admits the dude wailed on him as he recorded his own statement to police, but he doesn't say the other guy had a weapon. Force has to be proportional. This dude chimped the fuck out. Chud is a dud. And we wake up today to see that he was charged with attempted murder. Oops! Sorry for being right again. It was only a week ago that I warned you faggots, and you were all like, nah, man, First Amendment, white pride. They get to call us names. As the Tennessean points out, use of deadly force is not justified if the person using the force provoked the encounter or consented to the violence. Here is the exact language used in Tennessee law. The person has a reasonable belief that there is an imminent danger of death, serious bodily injury, or grave sexual abuse. He doesn't have any of that. It was a fist fight. The danger creating the belief of imminent death, serious bodily injury, or grave sexual abuse is real or honestly believed to be real at the time. He doesn't have that. And the belief of danger is founded upon reasonable grounds. But again, go back to the top. Not justified if the person using force provoked the encounter. The Tennessean goes on to say, to stand your ground apply to Chud the Builder. According to criminal defense attorney David Rabin, Tennessee stand your ground law will likely not apply to Etherly. The partner of the Nashville law firm Rabin and Weissman PC told the Tennessean this could be the case given that he believes Etherly incited the altercation with provocative language. The statute does not justify the use of deadly force or self-defense if someone provoked the other individual's use or attempted use of unlawful force. You guys are comparing this fucking nitwit to like Daniel Penny. I mean, Daniel Penny didn't create shit. Daniel Penny reacted to shit. You guys started to give, send, go for this guy? That's fucking awesome. You know why? Every fucking penny is going to be soaked up by an attorney, more than likely a Jewish attorney. How do you like that big circle of life there? Douchebags. And I get it. I get the whole black fatigue thing. I was a cop in a capital city on the East Coast, a blue cesspool of a city. Believe me, I fucking get it. But for Emery King and like-minded fucktards to see Chud as some freedom fighter, some hero, are you fucking kidding me? These are the same people that cheered on Shiloh Hendricks. This is fucking pathetic. So, Emery dared those of us not on board to unfollow. I obliged. No more $1 a month for him. I was a subscriber at one point, but you don't do shit for his people except to follow back, and he tries to push Fugazi weed on you. I don't get it, man. This dude wanted to be black his whole life, including the not having a father thing. Then he switches the grift to anti-black everything, and I dig it, man. I really do. I got my own We Was Kang segment I run regularly to zero audience. I love this dude's approach. I loved his comedy, especially back in the day when he was just marching in the driveway of his double wide with his pro-cop messages in the Silverado. But yeah, you lost me, bro. Chud is no hero. Chud isn't fighting for my white rights. I escaped the fatigue. I fucking moved. Problem solved. Now, Chud may get a DA who takes in all the facts and once applied to the law, interprets it in a way favorable to him. But what happens when he pulls this shit in, say, Chicago with that DA and an all-black jury? Are you people too fucking stupid to see the end result? Or maybe that's what you're asking for. Total chaos over something that didn't have to be. Fuck Chud and George Floyd. See? Hating on both sides is possible because America. And I wanted to keep this one short today. I got a lot of packing to do, giggity, but I can't leave without mentioning the Steve Baker Johanneman report that was dropped yesterday at Veritas Regnant. I hope I'm saying that right. If you don't believe, as I do, that J6 was an orchestrated event by Dems and Capitol Police, this should remove all fucking doubt. I remember watching events unfold that day live and thinking, this looks purposeful. I've seen this exact operation as a police officer. 3 sides of the building doing one thing, as in moving aside barricades and waving people to come inside, but then one side of the building held down like Omaha Beach, launching totally unnecessary flashbangs and tear gas into the crowd. Yep. That was intentional. Now, I'm not saying all Capitol cops were in on it. They didn't have to be. They simply had to follow fucked up orders. And when every line of defense is given completely different and in some cases contradictory orders, all hell breaks loose. I had seen it from my own job. You know what else I saw in my days in law enforcement? I saw fights in the stands at high school football games that were way worse than anything those cops dealt with on J6. I knew instantly that this would be compared to Pearl Harbor and 9/11, and then faggots like Michael Fanone took it to another level. Oh well. Fuck the world, I guess. Okay, and a red. Now, why don't we quickly honor Chud and Emery's sacrifice for the white race with some We Was Kangs. Now it's time for the final call. On this date in 2013, May 14th, Detective Bobby Branham of the Louisville PD, Kentucky, succumbed to complications, gunshot wounds sustained 41 years earlier in the 300 block of East Oak Street. As he was placing one subject under arrest, a second man approached and shot him in the abdomen with the shotgun. He nearly died from the wound at the time of the shooting and remained in the hospital for 8 months. He had undergone over 10 surgeries as a result of the wound. On May 14, 2013, he underwent surgery to remove an obstruction caused by the wound and died from complications of the surgery. The shooter was found guilty of malicious shooting and wounding and was sentenced to 2 years. The subject, who was being arrested for theft, was sentenced to 30 days for resisting arrest. Detective Branham served with the Louisville PD for 13 years. He's survived by his wife, daughter, and grandchildren. Also on this date, back in 1961, Jailmaster David S. Robinson Sr., Middlesex County Sheriff's Office in Massachusetts, was shot and killed during an escape attempt by 2 inmates from the Old County Jail on 3rd Street, adjacent to the courthouse in East Cambridge. The inmate who shot Jailmaster Robinson was awaiting trial for the murder of Patrolman Lawrence W. Gorman of the Cambridge PD on September 3, 1960. The man committed suicide 3 days after murdering Jailmaster Robinson when police stormed a Boston apartment where he was hiding. Second inmate, who was awaiting trial for the murder of a clerk in a Saugus clothing store, was captured 4 days later while robbing a store in New Hampshire. He was convicted of 2 counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. December 1985, he escaped from prison and he remained at large until March 22, 2005, when he was arrested in Chicago, Illinois. He was denied parole. January 12, 2010, Jailmaster Robinson had served with the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office for 27 years. He was survived by his wife, son, daughter, mother, and 3 brothers. Lastly, on this date, in 1884, Under Sheriff William Scudder, the Barry County Sheriff's Office, Michigan, was shot and killed while attempting to arrest a man who had assaulted a deputy the previous day. The man shot Under Sheriff Scudder in the chest during the arrest. The subject was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Under Sheriff Scudder had served 2 years with the Barry County Sheriff's Office and previously served as the Sergeant-at-Arms for 2 sessions of the Michigan Senate. Survived by his wife and child. May they all continue to rest in peace. And there'll be no timeline cleanse today because you all suck. But before we go, to anyone out there struggling with that mental demon, remember to stop, breathe, and survive. Later, bitches.
Get him, Jay. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
You got DP'd.